Hey, Bruce here with the 5-Minute Handyman. I am installing some shoe molding today and wanted to show you how I do that. Let me show you some of the hardware involved. First, you'll notice I'm wearing a earplug here. This is a noise canceling headphones, and I like to use that when I'm using my saw or anything that's really loud. This is a Bose system. There's many others that are available, but it works real well. Very light, easy to take in and out. Then I don't have big bulky headphones on or ear protection. So let me show you the other hardware we're talking about here. I've got a section that I'm going to be putting the shoe molding on, and shoe molding is different than quarter round because it is not a quarter of a circle. It has a little bit different shape to it, and so I like the look of shoe molding versus quarter round on flooring. What I've done so far is I've cut a 45-degree miter on the corners here so that these two pieces will fit in. And I wanted to show you how I do the measuring for making my other cuts. I could do it one of two ways. I can put either the wood in place and then go ahead and mark it, or I could use my tape measure and measure it and then transfer that over. Either way works. It's easiest if you have smaller pieces and you can lay them up against where you're going to be installing them and then make your markings that way. So let me show you what I would do with this one here. So I've got this in the corner, and what I want to do is line it up with where the door trim comes down, and I'll make a little bit of a mark here, and then I'm going to, on the scrap piece, put a little angle so I remember which side and which angle I'm going to be cutting it towards. Okay, and so I'm going to do the same thing over on this end. We'll make sure it's tight up against the corner, make our mark, and make a little bit of a angle marking here too. And so what I like to do is when I come up to a door frame, I like to do a 30-degree angle here. The corner is going to be 45, and so let me show you how I'm going to cut these. I've got a little chop saw set up, and what I'll do with this is you'll see that the angle is this way, so I'm going to switch over to a 30-degree angle, and what I'll do is I'll line up my blade with that marking. Then make my cut, and I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. So we'll switch this back to 30 degrees on this angle. I'll line it up and make our cut. So now when I take this and put it back over here, see if we can see all of this here. So this is going to fit in nicely over in the corner. Okay, and you'll notice that the edge is bare wood on this. I like to use pre-painted trim. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of paper here, and I will put it underneath this edge so that after I nail this in, I'm going to come back with some white paint and just dab it on the end there, and then I can pull this out so I don't get any paint on my floor. So we'll do the same thing in the corner, because what we're going to do in the corner here is we're going to use caulk in order to seal up the seam, and I don't want the caulk to get on the tiles that I've got on the floor, or any other kind of flooring that you would have. Okay, so now that I dry fit this in place, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a air nailer. This is a 16 gauge nailer. I can use either 2-inch nails or 1.25-inch nails. On the shoe molding, I'll use a smaller size. If I was putting the baseboard in, I would use a longer side so it could go through the sheetrock into the 2x4 plate that is behind that. So I've got my nailer here. I also have a CO2 power system, which is just a little bit easier than having a compressor to tag around. This will hook on my belt if I'm standing up doing crown molding or any other kind of trim. But you don't have to use that. You can use air compressor, or you can use the old school method of nails and a hammer. I haven't done that in quite a few years. I also have a caulk gun here, and after I nail in, we're gonna caulk so that we have a nice, clean looking baseboard. So let me show you what this looks like as we go to install this. Now I don't want to have this up too high, because if I do it and shoot the nails in down toward the floor, especially if my flooring is very hard, what's going to happen is the nail is going to wrinkle and it's not going to go in. So I want to make sure I'm putting it into the wood. And we're just going to make sure I push down so that the shoe molding goes tight against the floor. And make sure my corner's tight. Okay, so now that's all in. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my caulk, and you'll see here in the tip, I've got a cup hook, and I just screw that in to make sure that my caulk stays moist. When I caulk this edge here, what I'll do is I'll put just a little bit along this seam. Okay, and then I'll take my finger and go right along it to make sure that it's smoothed out. So let's see if we can zoom in on this to show you what that looks like. Okay, so you can really not even see, this is right where I stopped, you can not even see where the seam is. And so that's what we want to do. We want to try to make sure that everything looks clean, and then what I'll do is I'll come back after I caulk that part, and I'll take a little bit of caulk on my finger and I'll put it into that nail hole and wipe it off. And that way I can get a nice clean, even piece of wood there. And again, I'll come back and paint this end and then pull the paper out, and then we're done.